We are back with Danielle Strickland, who's sharing with us some of the life lessons she's learned through 20 years of serving the marginalized. We're talking about your previous role of being a chaplain in brothels and what you learned. And one of the challenges is that trafficked women generally don't know that they're trafficked women. How does that happen?
Yeah, I would say that just like a couple of real quick things is one is people, we're all the same. People are people. So that one of the great takeaways of brothel chaplaincy, but also serving anybody, is that if you strip off what people think and what we wear, this, like all the economics and social economic situations, we're all the same. People are humans, and humans are sacred and broken at the same time. So that's kind of a life lesson that I learned. A lot of women who are involved in indoor sexual exploitation would not consider themselves trafficked. And a lot of folks who experience enslavement or oppression don't consider themselves enslaved or oppressed. Part of the reason is because they wouldn't translate their life story as one of being oppressed because it's their normal. So if your normal is your normal, and actually anyone, even people who are watching the show, might not consider their life exceptionally oppressive until they actually figure it out. Years later, they hear a story, maybe even on the show, they hear a story and they realize that, oh, you're not, like if you woke up and your mom was drunk every day, that wasn't normal, or if neglect was a part of your life, that's not normal. And it created some oppression that not only was outside of you, but also inside of you. So, so the stats of women who are sexually exploited are really super high in sexual abuse. They're really super high in like childhood trauma. And there's an oppression that happens on the inside that actually ends up being an oppression that takes over and begins to enslave people.
All of these experiences led you to write this book, The Ultimate Exodus, and you really dove into slavery and freedom. And I love what you say in there, because you talk about, so we're talking about other people and their oppression, but you say like all of us have things inside of us that keep us in slavery. So talk to me about that. What are some of the things that we don't even realize are holding us back?
Well, here, let's just talk about fear. I mean, fear is what I call the currency of oppression. So I use a story, one of the oldest stories is the story of the Exodus, which is Moses and the people of God. And God's intention, which is this beautiful idea that God's intention is to set people free. So oppression, even religion sometimes has been used oppressively, but that's never God. That's always oppression. And one of the ways that oppression is driven, so in the Exodus story, when you read about it, the Israelites are oppressed to Egypt because they're afraid of Egypt's power. But what's really amazing in that story in the first chapter is that the scripture says that because Pharaoh was afraid of the Israelites, he oppressed them. Which is this: if fear is a motivator in your life, you will either be oppressed or you will be an oppressor. But all of it is a system of oppression.
Wow, that is so good. And it's so easy for us to talk about those people that participate in slavery or trafficking, but you say like actually we all kind of have a part to play. In a sense, it could be just the shirt that I'm wearing.
Yeah, absolutely. So, and I mean, we can, it gets a little bit paralyzing in terms of like guilt.
I can't do anything.
That's right. So like, over 200,000 Bangladeshi girls and children are trafficked every year into the cotton. So they're picking the cotton that goes into our clothes, that's stitched into the fabric of our, there wouldn't be any women for sale sexually or sexually exploited if men weren't purchasing sex. So, I mean, there's pornography and all this. So everybody is there's this complicit, the way that our commodity works, the way that our economics work is an exploitation of the poor. Absolutely. So no matter who you are, you're sort of complicit in this system of oppression. But what's really hopeful about understanding that is that if slavery works that way, so does freedom. So if slavery is complicit, everybody's involved in it to make oppression work, then also freedom is the same way. So as you get free, both inside and out, so sometimes we go like, how can I contribute to freedom in the world? And I'd be like, you can get free. Like you can get free. You can get free inside. You can attack fear, for example. So fear is like one of the great dominating systems of oppression on the earth today. That's why everyone, like, we're bombing countries. We're like, banning people groups. We're like, and all of it is fear-based.
Yes.
So if we're going to fight fear-based that fuels oppression in the world, dealing with our fear is going to be the way that we start.
That's so good. You wrote so many great thoughts in this book, The Ultimate Exodus. I was telling you before the interview that I was underlining every sentence, and I was like, that kind of kills the point of underlining because what do you pick out? There's so much in here that I was just like, yes, this is amazing. If you want to get a book that's going to inspire you and challenge you, if you just, even this was just so little, The Ultimate Exodus is available at our e-store at crossroads.ca. Thank you so much for coming to talk to us. I just feel like we just touched the surface. You'll have to come back.
Thanks.
We'll be right back.